Hey friends, welcome to part 2 of our 2023 garden compilation, where we go over everything cool that we did, everything we accomplished in the garden for 2023, and we'll run through them in order of the way I posted them. That way you can go back and find them easily if you want to watch a full video of something. So I hope you enjoy, and let's take a look at our part 2 of the compilation. And here we are planting corn, so we've got to prepare the area. The mulch is super compacted. I'm going to plant in ground. It's going to be like a wall along the fencing there, and that's the pumpkin patch area. Got a auger on a drill, dig the holes since the ground's so hard, and I can't just like get my finger in there and make a hole. So this works out really, really, really well, and just about every corn germinated. Now I put myself in an awkward position here where I couldn't reach all the holes without like pushing the mulch down. So I did this awkward pose. And now we got to do the other side here. It started raining, so I moved you inside. Drill the holes again. And this was May 19th, and we had plenty of time for the corn to come up. And here we have it. A few of them we need to thin out. Got 2 seeds in the hole. But they did amazing. We had so much corn from all of this. There's like hundreds, I think. And now here we are fertilizing. So in this full video, I show you what I fertilize with and how I do it. So we're doing the water soluble first, which is a high nitrogen. I just give everything a good boost of nitrogen in the beginning of this season. And it's water soluble, so it dissolves really quickly. And everything needs that boost, and then the decomposition process actually uses a lot of nitrogen, so it's helping things decompose, like the compost and stuff as well. And so I just go around and give everything a little drink, especially the tomatoes. It really just boosts them and gives them a real good start. And then after that, we'll see in this bucket here is granular. So you can do granular first, water soluble second, or vice versa. But now this is slow release, so this will be available in a few weeks for the plants later on in the season, while the water soluble is available instantly. So I just sprinkle this down for later use, and this is all the fertilizing we need to do for the whole year. And I gave the corn a little bit more later on, but in general, everything just gets a nice sprinkle of this, especially garlic and onion. They're heavy feeders. And then everything's good to go at that point. I did have to give the green stock more though, because the compost was bad. Oh, and then here's me attempting to prevent vine borers. It was a fail. I'm just going to say that now, but you can watch the video and see what not to do. So I thought if I got the netting around all of my pumpkin grow bags and then like clipped it, I also used landscape staples to get the netting like more flush with the bag, and I thought, oh, maybe they won't be smart enough to figure out how to crawl in. No, they figured it out. Vine borers figured it out, squash bugs figured it out, and the aphids figured it out. And I actually did more damage to my plants by keeping them under this and not seeing the aphid infestation. So I did more damage than I did actually help. So this was a learning experience that I will not do again. But you can see it's kind of pretty when it's all lit up. I didn't know the camera quality was bad I got this camera, the GoPro was new, so it's a little blurry. And then this is the next night, and I'm out here organizing. So things just kind of like get in a mess, and when the weather's cold, you don't want to get out there and organize stuff. Well, I had a jumble of stuff here and there that I just needed to deal with. It was an eyesore, not good for content creation to have a messy area, and I work better in a clutter-free area as well. So these shelving units, I have 2 of these inside as the grow station, and then I have even more pieces. So I was like, well, let me set these up and be like shelves out here in this corner. And they work out so well. And just moving stuff out of the way, and then I'm like thinking, I think I can probably set up this other shelf unit right next to it. Let's go ahead and build it too. And yeah, these seriously have been so helpful. And I would have thought ahead of time, realizing I was going to build both of them. I would have built them first before shoving stuff down there in the way, but I get it to scoot in there. And give it a little shove. That's a trash can that was holding all the like piping parts or whatever of the shelving unit, and we actually use it to grow sweet potatoes in. So you can grow in anything if you really set your mind to it. And look, the wheelbarrow will fit in there perfectly on the side. This is the next day where I'm still just trying to get the area cleaned up. I'm sick of looking at the mess, so we're sweeping, and then here in a sec we're going to try to power wash the patio here. It's not even, so it actually holds on to water right where you see like the discoloration there. That's where it pools up constantly. And here's Tater giving me a hard time with the blower. Ah, she's something else. So I had to put her inside so I can finish this up. And then I used the hose to I didn't want to get out the pressure washer. I was like, I'll just use the hose on jet, and I broke it. That was sad. I never bought a new drum wand last year, so I need to get one this year because I like it a lot better. But I have plenty of the little hand ones there. So yeah, we just give it a little bit of jet spraying, help clean it up a little bit. It's kind of satisfying to watch. And see, you can see where it's pooling. That's where it pools when it rains. That's why it gets so filthy. And I didn't like the way it looked. It just looked ugly, and I just wanted to clean it up a little bit. So we get a little bit of the water out of the way with the squeegee and then go at it again. And we're not going for perfection, but we're just going for better than it was. And it was better, not perfect, but definitely necessary. Oh, dear Scooby almost got squirted. And then this is the watering system right behind the compost bin, and all that stuff was just jumbled up in there. And like, it's a fine spot for storage, but when it starts getting a little out of hand or tangled up in the wires and stuff there, then it's not good. So we find a different spot for all this, and those are like little Dollar Tree trellises that did not work against the dogs at all, and they got super tangled. This was a very annoying process here to untangle some of the good ones, and then some of the like really trashed up looking ones I just tossed over the fence there. I gave some away, and then some of those just went to the curb for the trash pickup. And just all the little random things I have for the garden are just tucked away in the corner here where you can hardly see them out of sight. So definitely much better than what I was doing before. The garden table that's on the patio right outside the door, that table, like the space underneath, I would use for storage as well. And we just filled a tote with some potting mix because I had too many sweet potato slips and I had run out of space. And I gave a ton away, but I still had too many. So we just plant some in a tote, even though it's not like food grade. I just didn't want the plant to go to waste, so we just tried it out. And while we're at it, we're gonna clip up some tomatillos and tomatoes. Use little clips to clip them to the cattle panel, but I actually think this year I'm going to weave them instead of clip them. The clips were a pain in the butt at the end of the season to like get the tomatoes off and clean up. These are buckets for mushrooms that I put in a shaded spot under the trampoline, but still in sight so I wouldn't forget about them, and I still fail to water them often enough. This is totally user error and my bad. So I thought, you know, if the winter didn't kill all the spores, maybe they'll still grow. So I'll put them over by the hose and I'll water them every day, which I was much better about watering them. And oh, we gotta give Tater some time. But I still didn't get any mushrooms, so I totally like wasted. Like, mushroom spores aren't that cheap, so like I wasted, and I'm very upset with myself about it. We got a plastic pallet that I was using to, like, I have those in the garden holding up grow bags. Oh, and here's mulch. I got a little bit of mulch left in this tote, and I just want to I don't want a tote sitting there with mulch in it. And it's really heavy because it's been holding on to rain. So we dump some in the bucket and we mulch our important things like our nightshades. But peppers and tomatoes will get soil-borne diseases when like rain splashes up onto the plant from the soil. So it's really important to mulch your peppers and your tomatoes to prevent the splashage. And so we just go around and use up whatever mulch I have left on whatever I can cover. I'll either buy more mulch or I won't, but at least I've covered things. So I didn't end up buying any mulch this year. I just used what I had and it was enough. Everything was fine. We do use the last little bit of mulch on the tomatoes in a sec. Oh, and we're just taking a moment to appreciate the green. Look at that. Oh, isn't it beautiful? It's February now, so everything is the opposite of green in my garden or not there at all. So it just like breathes life into your soul when you see such beautiful green. You can ignore what's in my hand. The only reason this clip is here is because I am appreciating the beauty I am seeing right now. Look at and those bush beans down there before the beetles took after them. It's just so beautiful. And the tomatoes are all on the outside of the cattle panel all the way around. So we use the last of our mulch to add to the base of the tomatoes. And we started all those tomatoes together. Can you see how amazing they are? And they grow taller than the cattle panel by the end of the season. And they did phenomenally. And look at that beauty. Ugh. Can't wait. Can't wait for spring. Okay, so I threw these rocks. I was using the rocks in the backyard and I was like, I don't need my landscape rocks back here anymore, so let me throw them over the fence, go around and pick them up. Instead of put them in the basket and carry them around would have been the smarter thing to do. But here's a perfect opportunity to take a look and see how the landscape's doing. If you watched part one of the compilation, then you would see a small clip where we planted everything, and then that's just how it's doing. It's beautiful. And look at the backyard from this angle. I'm just appreciating the beauty of it. Not everything's perfect. My garden beds are shaped in all different kinds of ways, but it's still beautiful to me. So you saw where we try to prevent the vine borers and squash bugs by netting everything. I also netted the zucchini over here, and this is where we're looking first. And you can see, we'll get up close, a little bit closer here in a few, and you'll see all the damage. Ooh, that's a spider. Ooh. You'll see, oh, squash bug. So right there, squash bugs got in. Aphids, aphid damage, aphid ate holes, squash bugs got in, vine borers got in. And then you'll see later on when I take those plants out that they did not do good at all. I just rip them out when we do our fall planting. I think I might have gotten 1 or 2 zucchinis the whole year, and I had 4 zucchini plants. So netting them did not help anything. The bad bugs could get in, but the pollinator bugs couldn't. So yeah. Now we're just taking off those stems that are just too far gone. Did you see all those brown specks on that one? Yeah, those were aphids. The ones that seemed salvageable we're spraying with cast iron soap and water. And the ones too far gone are going in a soapy bucket because that will kill everything. Just soapy bucket of water. So we give it a real good haircut. We leave some leaves on for photosynthesis so it can rebound. But then at this point, like the vine borer is probably already in there and I don't even know it because I don't realize how bad my attempt failed to keep them safe. Moving on, we are making a bouquet with just whatever is growing. So this is yarrow that's growing, and it's just pretty filler. Look at that bunch of yarrow together. It's just beautiful. And then some echinaceas in their prime. So we cut off some of those too. And then we head up front to the landscape, and it took me an entire year to figure out what these particular ones, not these, you'll see in a sec. The ones that we cut are coreopsis, They came from a wildflower mix, which is why I had no idea what they were, because I had not planned on growing anything tall in this spot. I didn't plant anything tall, but I sprinkled a wildflower mix and they took off. Nothing else hardly grew. Calendula, baby breath, and coreopsis were the only things that grew from the wildflower mix. And so I finally figured it out anyways. So they're beautiful, but look at them hanging over in the walkway. This was not an ideal spot, but I didn't know that they were going to grow there and that they were going to be so tall. So keep that in mind if you sprinkle wildflower mix. And now we just assemble. So take off the leaves of the echinacea because they'll get all rotty and stuff and gross. And I'm sticking them all in first. I'm not a bouquet making expert at all. And watching this back now, I'm looking at like what I'm doing and I'm like, you could have done that better. You could have done that different. But hindsight does not help us in the moment. So I shove all the yarrow right there in the middle. And then I try to like pick out some echinaceas and weave in between the white bunches and I mean, in the end it's pretty and I'm proud of it because like I grew all those things from seed and I planted them. And look what I made. And it's still beautiful to me, even though it's not the best assembled bouquet. Beautiful. That's the best angle right there. Oh, look at that cabbage. I'm so proud of that cabbage. I only got one that size. The roly-polies and the white butterflies were taken after it. So this is our fall crop video where we're out with the old and with the new. So the peas are done. Peas don't last the entire year. So either it gets too hot or you miss one of the peas and they fully mature, and then that makes the plant die because the plant did its job. The plant got a fully mature seed. So gotta make sure you get them all. And that's the zucchini. Can you, like, look, it doesn't even look like the same plants, does it? It is. If I remember correctly, it is. But yeah, gave me nothing. Planting carrots here, so I cover my carrots. People use boards or whatever they have, and I use tote lids. That's what I had handy. So making the groove so I can see where to sprinkle the seeds. Then we scratch them in, water them in, and cover them with the lid. And in 5 to 7 days, we take the lid off because they have germinated. So we need to plant our garlic. So we are going to remove everything that's in our way. So we get a nice little harvest of carrots. They're not huge. They could have been in there a little bit longer. I could have thinned them a little better. I did thin them, still didn't thin them enough. So we got what we got, and it's better than nothing. So over here is going to be beets. Oh, we plant our garlic later, actually. This is just the fall crop of beets. So I think this is like the beginning of August here. Take everything out, plant our beets. Beets and carrots get sweeter if they mature in the fall when the weathers get colder. And this is brassicas of broccoli, cabbage, and cauliflower that I am planting here. And we're giving them miniature domes with these clear plastic cups to keep the white butterflies out. Problem though is weeds came up, and then like I wasn't sure if I placed the cups in the right spot, and some blew over because of the wind. So yeah, I will do that again, but just differently. And peas, a fall planting of peas, and these were beautiful. It was nice to see fresh green pop up. Okay, now we're squash bug hunting. Dish soap around the rim of the bucket. You'll see why. And then you put the water right in the middle, so that way you're not rinsing off the rim, because the squash bugs will crawl out of the soapy water and they'll have to crawl through soap to get out and die. So look at that. See that squash bug? Water in the area, like the plant doesn't need water, obviously, it's dead, but water in the area and the squash bugs will come to the surface because they don't like getting wet. And then you can just grab them. So I think we just grabbed like 3 or 4 right off the bat. Throw them in our bucket of soapy water, and then we'll come back and keep hunting. And so yeah, I neglected this area because, okay, what's my excuse? Let me think of one. It was hot outside. I really didn't feel like squash bug hunting. I just wanted the plants to grow and not have to, yeah, so anyways, the squash bugs ruined this area. We didn't get a single pumpkin. We didn't get, we got a few squashes. That's the only pumpkin. Look at it. It is so far gone that it's not even worth cutting half of it off to get half a pumpkin. In it goes, not even worth it. And we did get a few of these. These were honey nut butternut squash, the most amazing butternut squash I've ever had. Oh, do you see those squash bugs scattering? You see all those little white things? Yeah, those are like teenager squash bugs. They're all white. Everywhere. The raspberry plants grew so far out that it was covering everything and giving them a nice little home to hide. And oh, we're at the end. So there's part 2. We got a lot done. Very happy with all that we've done so far. And I will see you next time. Stay tuned for part 3. And if you want to, you can go back and watch part 1 that came out right before this video. And feel free to like and subscribe. I'll see you later. Bye.